The first blow. It began in silence, as such things often do. The alien fleet did not announce itself with parley, nor with warning shots across the stars. They descended on humanity's colony world of Carini IV, a young settlement of barely 30,000 souls, with a cruelty born of arrogance. The Zarak Dominion, ancient rulers of a dozen spiral arms, had watched humanity rise from its cradle with a mixture of disdain and curiosity. To them, Earth was still primitive, still naive enough to think treaties and diplomacy could protect it in a galaxy forged by war. So the Zarak decided to remind these upstarts of their place. Their attack was swift, brutal, and theatrical. Orbital bombardments rained down like steel meteors, tearing apart domes and cities. Colonists screamed beneath firestorms as the Zarak admiral broadcast his mockery to every surviving channel. Humans, you believe yourselves capable of claiming the stars. You are dust. We ruled this galaxy 17 million years before your kind crawled upright. You are guests here, and we do not forgive trespassers. Carini IV burned. No quarter, no mercy, no survivors allowed to bear witness, save for one escape shuttle that fled into the void, carrying only silence and the smell of ash. Arrogance of the Dominion. The Zarak gathered in their council chambers, scales gleaming under cold starlight. They celebrated the destruction with a detached cruelty, as though swatting vermin. They will mourn, one warlord sneered, but they will not fight. Humans fear death. Their so-called fleets are patchwork toys. Their worlds are fragile. Their leaders are bound by treaties they dare not break. They laughed at the thought of Earth's patience. They mistook restraint for weakness. They mistook silence for surrender. And across their empire, messages were sent to lesser species. See what becomes of those who defy us. See the fate of humanity. 17 million years of Zarak dominion stands unbroken. They thought themselves immortal, eternal, beyond reprisal. But they had miscalculated, gravely. The silence before the storm. For weeks the galaxy heard nothing from Earth. No broadcast, no retaliation. Just stillness, as if the humans had been crushed beneath the weight of their grief. But then the silence broke. It began with the faint whisper of fleet mobilizations. Civilian lanes cleared, and merchant vessels were seized by Terran Command for war service. Entire moons became shipyards overnight, exhaling dreadnoughts into the void. Earth's colonies recalled every able-bodied soul, drafting them not with threats but with a promise whispered on every channel. We will answer. Zarak intelligence dismissed it at first. Rattling sabers, they said, posturing. But then their listening posts went dark, not destroyed but overwritten. Human war AIs slipped into Zarak comms, hijacking signals, whispering back their own warning in every tongue. 17 million years you ruled alone. That age ends tonight. The galaxy trembled. Allies and enemies alike turned their eyes to Earth, waiting for the storm. The awakening of Earth. Earth did not send diplomats. Earth did not send envoys. Earth sent steel, fire, and vengeance. When the Terran First Fleet emerged from slipspace at the edge of Zarak-held territory, the stars themselves seemed to recoil. Their dreadnoughts were not sleek like the Dominion, but brutal, hulking citadels of war, forged in silence and sharpened by grief. Each ship carried enough firepower to reduce continents to dust. They did not advance cautiously. They did not warn. They declared war in the only language the Zarak would understand, absolute annihilation. Zarak border fleets met them with arrogant confidence, 800 warships bristling with ancient weapons. But when the First Fleet opened fire, reality bent. Human weapons tore through shielding designed in eons past. Kinetic slugs traveled at fractions of light, burning through cruisers as if they were parchment. Planetary defense grids were silenced in minutes. The Dominion's commanders, who had laughed at human fragility, now screamed across broken comms. These are not primitives, these are executioners. The fire across the stars. Word spread like a plague. Every Dominion world, once so confident in their unassailable power, now shivered beneath human retaliation. On Dragil Prime, a Xerac fortress world, skies blackened as Terran dropships descended in their thousands. Soldiers in powered armor, faceless and unyielding, stormed cities like walking storms. Plasma fire lit streets where the Dominion once marched in parades of conquest. On Veora IX, orbital bombardments turned oceans to steam, carving entire continents into glass. Survivors whispered that the stars themselves had caught fire. On Calrath Station, the hub of Xerac commerce, Terran war AIs infected every system. Doors sealed. Airlocks opened. Entire populations vanished into vacuum while the human fleet remained silent, watching, judging. Everywhere the pattern repeated, no warning, no mercy, no delay. The Xerac had mocked humanity's patience. Now they saw what came after patience broke. Retribution without end. The climax came at Xerathkal, the Dominion's homeworld. For 17 million years it had stood untouched, capital of empires, throne of tyrants, heart of arrogance. The Terran armada arrived not as invaders but as executioners. Their fleets blotted out the sun, their dreadnoughts arrayed in grim silence. No broadcast, no ultimatum. The bombardment began without a word. Mountains cracked, oceans boiled, cities turned to glass. Entire bloodlines of rulers were reduced to ash in the span of hours. The Xerac, who had boasted of eternal dominion, now clawed at the dirt like frightened animals, begging gods that had long since abandoned them. Human boots touched the soil of Xerathkal, not to conquer, but to judge. What was left of the Dominion's High Council was dragged into the ruins of their palace and forced to hear the words carried across every channel of the galaxy. 17 million years you ruled alone. That era ends now. You will never again harm a human. You will never again mistake silence for weakness. We are patient. We are merciful, but when provoked, we are infinite. Aftermath, the whispered fear. When the fires at last burned out, the Xerac Dominion was no more. Not diminished, not crippled, erased. Their banners torn from the stars, their fleets reduced to drifting wrecks. Their history ended in fire. The galaxy fell into silence. No one celebrated, no one mocked. Even those who had hated the Dominion now feared the ones who had ended them. Among smugglers, merchants, and refugees, whispers spread. Never provoke Earth. Their patience is vast, but their vengeance is infinite. 17 million years the galaxy belonged to the Xerac, and in a single season the humans ended it. On forgotten stations at the edge of known space, alien children asked their elders why the stars seemed dimmer now, and their elders, with voices shaking, answered. Because Earth has spoken, and the stars remember.